Okay, this is slide 6 of our imperialism unit, guys. The spoils of war. It's an old famous saying, to the victor belongs the spoils. The spoils are what you get for winning the war. Okay? You're on the winning side, so you get stuff from the losing side. So let's look at here what we gained as a result of winning this war. Land. We get a lot of land. We pick up Guam, another island in the Pacific, which is going to become a big military area. We get Puerto Rico in the Caribbean, which will become a U.S. territory, and still is today. And we will get the Philippines in the Pacific, off the coast of Asia, which will become a U.S. territory, all. So we grab a lot of land. We don't get Cuba. If you'll recall, the Teller Amendment that the Senate passed said that once Cuba had driven Spain out, that Cuba would be given its freedom. So we honor that. And Cuba becomes its own independent country, sort of, and we'll talk about later on. But we don't take it over. It does not become a U.S. territory. So we get Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Guam and Puerto Rico aren't really a problem. They come along very peacefully, very quietly, and are basically pleased, at least in Puerto Rico, because it does a lot. We do a lot of business with them, so it'll help them out. But the Philippines is going to be a problem. The Philippines is by far the largest of these, has the millions more people than Puerto Rico and Guam combined. So this will affect a lot of people. And taking over the Philippines is going to present a problem for the U.S. First of all, we've got McKinley as president, right? McKinley doesn't simply just want to abandon the Philippines. They're a large island group with lots of natural resources strategically located. If we simply abandon the Philippines and say, congratulations, you're free, now go be your own little independent country, they won't last 5 minutes before some other European power comes in and takes them over. So, we didn't drive Spain out just so somebody else could come in and take over. So he can't simply abandon them because they can't defend themselves. Right? We also have the problem of there are Protestant missionaries itching to get into the Philippines and start winning over souls for Christ. Telling them how their religion is pagan and they should be worshiping a one single God like we do. Do like we do. Industrialists were anxious to get into the Philippines. One, for its natural resources, but two, for trade markets, places to sell their goods. And the military wants it too, more land for naval bases is never a problem. So we're back to economics, religion, and military, the three big reasons. But we have a legal problem here. Technically speaking, okay, the Philippines had actually been captured the day after the armistice was signed. Okay? So we signed to end the war, and the next day we captured the Philippines. So technically, when the war ended, the Philippines still belonged to Spain. Now, we could start the war back up again and go kill more Spanish, but it's easier to just buy them off. We'll pay them some money and they'll go away. So the U.S. and Spain work out a deal that we will pay the Spanish $20 million for the Philippines. It's a steal. Everything we're going to get out of the Philippines and not having to pay soldiers to go fight for it. It seems like a lot of money at the time, but it's a steal. So you see the political cartoon up here. In 1898, around the time of during the war here, the United States eagle spreading its wings from the Caribbean throughout the Pacific. Here's Manila in the Philippines. Right? The Samoan Islands we take over. Here's Puerto Rico there. So the United States spreading its wings, imperialism, spreading out, taking over other countries. And by the way, here's what the U.S. looked like at the time there in terms of land that we formally had taken over. But 10,000 miles from tip to tip. Okay? Now, not everybody is thrilled about this. Not everybody is an imperialist. There are lots of people who don't think we have a right to be taking over other lands. There are lots of protests launched when this treaty to take over the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Guam is put before the Senate. Right? There is the leader of the Anti-Imperialist movement in the House of Representatives was the Speaker of the House, a man known as Thomas Reid, the Speaker of the House. And this is his picture down here. You see by his name there. Thomas Reid ran the House of Representatives with an iron hand. He was known as the Czar for the way he ran the House of Representatives. And Reid is an anti-imperialist. And when the treaty is approved to take over all these lands, Reid resigns in protest, says, "I will not work for a government that enslaves people." Because, and this is his argument and really the argument of the group leading the charge here. It's called the Anti-Imperialist League. Right? They are the ones arguing that the United States has no business taking over these other countries. Their main argument is that it's hypocritical. The U.S. looks like a bunch of hypocrites because we had been a colony of Great Britain. We had fought a war, declared that it is right for people to be able to decide their own future and their own path, to not have to answer to people in another land somewhere far away. And now we're doing the exact same thing that England did to us, the exact opposite of what we should be fighting for. We are taking over people and ruling them from a land far away. The Filipinos being the main one here. So you set up a fight in Congress here because the Senate has to ratify all treaties. The president can sign whatever treaty he wants, but it doesn't become law until the Senate approves it. Okay? The winner is going to be the imperialists. Okay? We will take over these lands. We argue that that we have to help uplift the underprivileged, the underfed, the oppressed of the world. We have to lift them up to something higher. We have to convert them to Christianity because our religion is better than theirs and all of that. And the Senate will approve this. The imperialists will win, but not by much. The Senate approves the treaty to take over the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Guam by one vote. That's it. One vote. So clearly, the country's pretty divided on this. Not everybody is in favor of imperialism. Okay. All right. We will turn our attentions next to some other issues we have after the war here in the Philippines and in the Caribbean. But first, the Caribbean.